Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, right now I'm actively selling. Hello, this is a Foxy 90s kid, and also otherwise known as ZK McEwen. And if you guys are anyone who's watching, I am selling on eBay for anyone that wants to buy what I'm selling because we're trying to clean out our personal collection. The description speaks for itself. And I've got the link to my eBay store pinned. So if you don't have the eBay app, download it. And if you've never shopped on eBay, register and sign in on eBay. I just got something sold. So yeah, what I officially got sold. This is this Robin Hood and Little John pin, yeah, which is a Disney Parks exclusive. Yeah, it's from the Disney Parks collection. You know that they would be sold exclusively in those Disney parks. I got it secondhand, but yeah, this one's officially been sold. I have 150 plus items listed for sale on eBay, and there's some things I'm doing. I just printed out a shipping label for the person who bought it. And then that Robin Hood and Little John pin. And in case you guys may not notice, if you go to my eBay store, it's no longer available. And why is it no longer available? It's because the item's been sold. Just printed out a shipping label and the packing slip for the buyer who purchased it. But I cannot show that to you guys on camera since that's supposed to be personal matters between me and the buyer because we can't be sharing any personal information like our mailing address or anything that's supposed to be personal. And alongside that, I part of thanking my buyers for doing business with us. All right, let me go. Yeah, just going to the Photos app thing. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm just getting ready to print the stuff out. As part of what I'm doing to show my gratitude to my buyers. All right. And yes, I've just put in a new thing that I've restricted the comments to subscribers because yeah, I'm doing this so that I don't have people posting rude comments or something that yeah, only but otherwise as a way to try to draw in some new subscribers. Because yeah, I'm still building a subscriber base. I'm at nearly 490. And if I can keep getting more subscribers, that would be great. I also have an Instagram, which is the Foxy 90s Kid. Yep, just like with my YouTube channel that I've since rebranded the week before my birthday. Yeah, I still need to update the cover image or something on my YouTube. Okay. And all right. Oh, and then someone says hello. And then here's one of these things that I printed out. I mean, I'm currently out of photo paper and I'm still short on money to buy the stuff. And the reason why is I'm currently unemployed and my only way out is to get things sold. And I'm trying to get some and I'm applying for some jobs. And the best way people can help me out is to buy what I'm selling that we're not using. It's part of doing someone a favor. But otherwise, yeah, and the image you see, in case you guys may not know, I didn't draw it, and they're not copied from other sites. This is AI from done on Google Gemini. Yeah, because yeah, we live in a time where AI is not the future; it is now. All right. Yep. And then there's another thing that I printed out and value your feedback. In case you guys may not notice, I gotta since it's on printing paper, I have to like cut them out with the scissors. So yeah, and yeah, when I'm short on money, I don't have a choice but to sell stuff. That's right, and I'm actually darn good at it. To sell things that I'm not using, that I have no reason to keep. Kind of like the saying, if you're not going to buy them, if you're, yeah, kind of like the quote from the movie In Her Shoes, like where there's like the rift between the two sisters says, look, if you're not going to wear them, don't buy them. Leave them for someone who's going to get something out of them. Yes, Maggie Feller, she insists her older sister Rose hoards shoes and only wears a small percent. Yeah, kind of like I imagine like the 80-20 rule, or yeah, kind of the 80-20 rule. Like they'll only wear like 20% or 1/5 of clothes they own. And yeah, okay. Oh, and there's another one that I'm going to be printing out. Okay. Yeah. And then there's this one, where I got the deals like the buy four, get one free for items below $50. And then above $50, buy two, get one for half price. Yep. And now here's the thing where I'm offering my buyers to add my eBay store to their favorites so they can get notified of any new items and other things. And so I know this surrounding's a bit dim, that you can like barely see it. So I might as well like plug in this lamp. Okay. So here we go. At least there's some better lighting here. Yep. And here's where I like cut this out so it's not on it, so that there's not so much empty space. Hey, what's up? I'm selling like 150 plus items on eBay. If anyone's interested, the link is in the chat box as well as in the description. So yeah, I'm selling stuff to get rid of stuff that we're not using. So if anyone is interested, just take your pick, no matter what the price range is. And in case you guys may not notice, we have a 40% off sale event on most items that are over $100. And yep, here's one that I've cut out. The images, it's on Google Gemini, that AI software. Yeah, I know I didn't draw it, but otherwise this is just out of convenience for doing the design. But yeah, you may have heard of something called AI slop. But I know there's a thing called, because AI doesn't always get the anatomy right, but sometimes you can always ask it to try again. Because there's a disclaimer saying that AI can make mistakes, which is true. And then here's another one that I cut out and stuff. We value your feedback, and that's because anyone who buys from our eBay store, because we do want to hear their opinion, but it's up to them to decide if they want to leave feedback. Because on eBay, speaking of leaving feedback, you only have up to 60 days, but even though you're not required to leave feedback, the system initially doesn't allow buyers to leave neutral or negative feedback until 1 week passes after the transaction's been made. So yeah, because before you leave any kind of critical feedback, you got to make sure you reach out to the seller, work it out with them. Like, has the item been shipped? Will it get delivered after it's been in transit for over a week and there hasn't been any further updates? Even though we the sellers are not in control of the package being in transit, because then once we ship it to the carrier, we the sellers are no longer in control. And then before leaving such feedback is if the buyer received the item and either it matches the photos and or the description, to see if they sent the item just like they advertised. The worst case, either the seller sends a different item or it comes damaged because of inadequate packaging. But the good news, I pack items with care. And now here's another one that I'm cutting out without all the empty space. Sure, I'm kind of wasting paper like this, but this is because I'm out of the photo paper or whatever to just print out card size paper or something. But otherwise, that's going to be a lot of good scraps to put in the recycle bin. Yeah, it's part of why recycling is important to kind of cut to reduce waste. Hey, what's up? I'm selling stuff on eBay. Got 150 plus items for anyone who's interested. Because, yeah, because I'm selling for personal financial reasons. Yeah, that's why I'm selling. And and then there's this thing to offer people to add our eBay store to their favorites if you want to get notified of any items that we have for sale. Just like how there are some people, yeah, just so you know, there's people that sell stuff on eBay when they got personal expenses they have to pay for. Just like anything you sell on eBay, we the sellers have to pay selling fees. And not only do we got to pay selling fees, which would include transaction fees, shipping and handling fees, ad fees, we also got to, because eBay sellers, they also have other expenses they have to pay for: rent, gas, groceries, childcare, utilities, college tuition, and other things. Because there's people that sell on eBay because they need that money to pay personal bills. And in case if they lost a loved one, they sell some things they're not using to cover funeral expenses. And yeah, because you know how funerals are so expensive, they can cost upwards to like $12,000, $15,000. Yes, they're really expensive. And I and just like there have been some relatives in my family that we've lost. I mean, one of my aunts passed away in February of last year. Not February this year, but February last year. She passed away in February of 2025. And this year, if she hadn't passed away, she would have been 91. And and hello, I'm selling stuff on eBay. If you're interested, my eBay store is called the Fox's Treasure and Trade. So whatever you want to buy, take your pick. And if you don't have the money, please share the listings. But otherwise, you can buy whatever fits your budget range. But anything that's worth collector value, they're going to be pretty pricey. But otherwise, in order to have free shipping, they got to be of a minimum threshold in order to cover those fees. It costs money to ship, it costs money to buy packing supplies, and you got to be really careful with the free shipping because you got to be careful when if you are buying from sellers that are cutting corners. The ones that offer them cheap with free shipping, they're likely to just ship you the item without any protective packaging. That's the problem. If they're not, if they're going to offer free shipping and the item's really cheap, just as kind of a cost cutting thing, be really careful about cheap items because they could just ship it to you and there's no protective padding. There are some red flags about items being cheap. They're only cheap to trick you into buying them just to save you money, and then you may not know the consequences. Plus, plus selling things ridiculously cheap can be pretty unrealistic, especially when the shipping costs are more than the price of the item. And then the seller be and then sellers have to charge the shipping and handling fees that buyers are going to end up paying more for shipping and handling because the price is too little to justify. And just like there's a lot of items that are priced cheap that can be bootlegs, and they want to say you're buying the official item when it turns out they're sending you a bootleg. Be wary of low prices. They only have low prices to scare people, when the authentic ones are more, and how some companies are really trying to protect their authenticity, and that if there's too many counterfeits being sold, they got to up the value so that people know the difference. And there's a lot of listings where the seller's using a stock image to mask that they're selling a bootleg. Yeah, just like back in December of last year, I sold that Magic School Bus the complete series DVD set, still in its original packaging like you bought it in 2012. I sold it I sold it for almost $74. And it was the authentic one. The ones that are offered cheap, whether the seller's using a stock image or not, the ones that if they're less than 40, or ones that are offered for less than $40, they're likely to sell you the bootleg Magic School Bus DVDs. Yeah, if they're priced under $40, they're likely to be the bootlegs, and say they're new, but then it turns out to be a bootleg if they're selling it to you less than $40. And then the ones that cost more will be the authentic ones. And then those Magic School Bus, the complete series DVD sets, they're out of print, and if you really want the authentic ones, they're going to be pricey, and some sellers are just pricing and then sometimes there's sellers that are pricing irresponsibly, and it's really not good when they're pricing irresponsibly and they're really trying to take away value. And I'm going to be right back because I got to put this put these scraps in the recycle bin. All right, I'm back. Just went to get myself some water after throwing away some scraps in the recycle bin. And then one of the items that's been getting some watchers, it's the strawberry shortcake VHS. So I'm gonna put that in the, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put that in the chat box. Yep, and it's one of my featured items. Yeah, anyone that goes to my eBay store. Okay. Yep, this one. All right. Okay, whoever's watching, here's this VHS of the wonderful world of strawberry shortcake, especially those who were kids back in the 80s before my time. I was born in 1990. This one has 33 watchers right now, and there's 5 people that have them in their carts, but they're not pulling the trigger to check out. But otherwise, this one's very collectible. So yeah, this is one of the top items that I'm considering a sale on. And my featured items list, it's for, because yeah, my featured items list, I have that for items that I want to consider the top items that I consider being sold. Oh, and there's something on my Instagram. Well, just some Instagram notifications.
If you give away, what is it, $1,700? It's a dollar for dollar tax
Oh,
credit.
something. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was just looking at stuff, my Instagram notifications. Yeah, I have an Instagram. I originally joined the Instagram platform back in 2015, and I didn't really post much back then, but now I post more and more than I did in my early days of Instagram. Ah, ah. Hello. Yeah, anyone that's watching the live stream, one of the items that's one of my featured items that I'm considering for sale is this wonderful world of strawberry shortcake for anyone who's interested. So we're trying to get some items sold because I'm selling for personal financial reasons. And here's another one of these featured items, this wacky wobbler of tails. It's one of my featured items. I've had this listed for more than a year, and it's one of the top items that I've been waiting for someone to buy. I have over 150 listings, and either way, I am selling for personal financial reasons. But just remember, if you buy it, it's your item. I must pack it and ship it, no exceptions. And while a buyer may ask to cancel, truth be told, there is no obligation for a seller to accept their cancellation request. Because a seller, they can ship the item in even as little as 1 through 5 minutes after the transaction. Because the seller could be at their computer at the time frame of the sale and start the shipping process, which my recent sale being the Disney the Disney parks pin of Robin Hood and Little John. I started the shipping process within the 1 through 5 minute time frame that the item's been sold. And so if you go to my eBay store, anything, if it disappears, then it means it's and then if the item is no longer listed for sale in most of the cases, it means it's been sold, and either I've started the shipping process or the item's been shipped out. Because once the sale's made, I immediately disown the item and and admit that it has a new owner, even though it's technically not in their possession yet. Still in my possession, but I have to get the item shipped. My handling time window is 1 through 3 business days. Just so you know, I have it stated in the description. Yep, I have it stated in the description for my seller terms for anyone who buys from me, because right now, because whatever I'm selling, I need to for whatever I'm selling, I'd like to get a new battery for my MacBook Air. It needs a new battery in case this one could die, and I need to get a new black ink cartridge, and some there's other things that I need. This is why I'm selling. I can't have I can't keep having my listings sit and wait for a new owner. It's time to get things sold. Just buy what you want, and if you don't have the money, please share the listings. So yeah, if you don't have the money, please do me a favor and share the listing so that more buyers can be reached. And that I've worked my butt on many of my listings, providing as many pictures as I can to showcase these items in case there might be any flaws, even if they're minor or minimal. And it's my job to write out the description so that buyers have the time to read it before they buy. Because then if any buyers try to cancel an order, most of the times they acknowledge they didn't read the description. But a seller doesn't have to cancel a buyer's order. And most of the time, a buyer wanting to leave, get, and buyer getting mad over a seller not canceling their order. Because usually the buyer loses the argument because sellers are not obligated to cancel a buyer's order. Because there are no laws that say the seller has to cancel the order or else. I mean, refusing a cancellation, it can upset the buyer, but first things first, don't buy it in the first place if you don't want it after all. But if you place your order, it can be too late. Because the seller can already start the shipping process, and because not every seller is obligated to cancel. Just some things you everyone needs to know before you buy. That's why you got to read the description, look through the photos, and in case another seller might be selling something like what you're looking at. A seller might have it in better condition, or they but most sellers don't have time for buyers saying that, oh, I found a better deal elsewhere, because either way, no matter which seller you buy from, most sellers don't have time for buyer's remorse. Let's get it straight. Sellers don't waste their time dealing with buyer's remorse, because if the seller needs money, take it seriously, because people, just like if you tip a waiter or waitress in a restaurant, you got to be considerate how much to tip them. You got to give them a minimum that would be considerate for what they got to pay for on their end when they're not working, because just like a waiter or waitress in a restaurant, or a delivery driver who delivers food to you, you got to tip them a minimum that would be considerate for bills they got to pay for, things like childcare, um, groceries, gas, utilities, rent, college tuition. Because if you're going to tip someone, a waiter or waitress or delivery driver, yeah, you need to think about them. Just like if you buy from a seller on eBay, you got to think about the seller, not just yourself. Because most sellers, they don't like buyers who are cheap. And I've had to deal with some difficult buyers as an eBay seller. And there are times where there's buyers that are choosing to be difficult because they want to be difficult. And there's so many buyers that like to be cheap and then just want to complain about the price. Even though most sellers don't waste their time with buyers complaining about the prices, because if you complain about the price, it makes you look like an ungrateful buyer. That's right, because I've had, because that that plush set of the Sane Luigi and Princess Daisy. Yes, the original ones. Yeah. Well, not like the Mario Party 5, but the Super Mario ones. Yeah, from 2009 and 2012 respectively. Yeah, those were before the All Star line that came by in like 2015 and 2017. Because, yeah, the All Star ones, yeah, they're eclipsing the older ones in quantities, where the older ones, they're going to be harder to find and more valuable. Because, yeah, that pair, yeah, the Luigi and Princess Daisy plushies, I got them, finally got them sold for $200 out of the 299.95 that was my full asking price. And someone made a really stupid thread on Reddit going batshit about the price. Because, yeah, 299. I mean, whoever made that Reddit thread, shame on you. You need to take it down because going after sellers that you've never bought from and saying bad things about them and threatening them to lower the price, that makes you look like an immature person, because it is not okay. Because remember, the contact seller button is solely for asking questions about the item you're looking at, and if you feel like the seller needs to provide more details about the item that's listed for sale, like if there's not enough pictures about the item, if they like to see it in different angles or something. But you don't but you don't use the contact seller button to chit chat or ask the seller to lower the price because you want it for yourself but don't have the money to buy it based on their asking price. Because there's collector value in items when you can't find them anymore. And this Wacky Wobbler Tails bobblehead, I currently have 19 watchers on it. And it's still mint and sealed in its original box. I bought it from Anna Minneapolis 2013. And whoever's watching this one's listed for sale. You can go to my eBay store and it's in the featured items category. So if you guys want it, make your purchase. And then once you check out, boom, all sales are final. It's no longer my item. I have to ship it, no exceptions. Okay. Uh, and in case you guys are wondering, I have set this to be I set the chat box to be subscribers only, so make sure you hit the subscribe button because I'm working on still growing my subscribers no matter how much content I'm posting. All right. Yeah, and here's this bubble wrap. You know, how I pack some items so yeah, so that minimal to no damage is being done while it's in transit. All right. Now I'm going to get ready to start one of the items. It's about to be shipped. Yep. And there's this Robin Hood and Little John pin that just got sold a few hours before like in the past few or so hours before I started this live stream. It's 9:50 p.m. in my time zone. All right. Now I am about to pack this up, whatever. Yeah, this item that's sold, but otherwise the the package or whatever will not be shown on camera due to privacy reasons, which is between me and that buyer that I sold to. Yeah, never ever share confidential information on these public sites. It's supposed to be personal, especially for your safety and that other person's safety. And there was one creepy guy who was asking for my personal address, and I told him to leave me alone, and he would sure create some different accounts as a block evasion or something. Yeah, there's that one creepy guy who would on different social media platforms. He would ask for my address and other things. I told him no, that's creepy. That's none of his business and other things. All right. Excuse me. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm just trying to set it somewhere so it's in a location that I can remember, but uh, all right, it's just a reminder. Let me put in a little reminder. Okay. All right. And now the strawberry shortcake thing that I have listed for sale. Now it is at 34 watchers. Yep. So here's where it at. That strawberry shortcake VHS. And if you guys really want to buy it, make your purchase. Yes, I take offers, but you got to be reasonable. Yeah, you got to be reasonable with offers because then I have my own auto accept, auto decline, which it's more convenient than having someone wait for me to respond to the offer in case I might be busy doing something. And then I'm away from electronic devices until I check my messages to see if any sales or alerts have come through. All right. Here's one of the items I'm going to add into the chat box. All right. And this is the bobblehead of Tails it's been sitting at 19 watchers with almost no change. Yeah, but however, over a year since it's been listed, I have like revised the gallery. I originally listed this on Christmas Eve of 2024. So the listing's almost 2 years old now. So if you guys want it, make your purchase, because once you buy it, it's your item. There's going to be no cancellations because it's my job to return the favor. You pay for it, I have no option other than to return the favor, because a purchase, it's a binding contract. Because you better look it up. Uh, and of course, here's this Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. This one's the 1994 Barnes and Noble edition. And it's in great shape, even though one of the pages has a small crayon mark, but otherwise, most of it's in pretty good condition. I've read some of it, but I haven't like read the whole book. I flipped through pages on it. We've had this for almost 25 years. Yeah, my mom bought it, I think, in early 2002 when I used to go to some violin lessons at when I at someone's house who would teach violin lessons. Yep, this is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland book. It's been in the family for almost 25 years, and this edition is fairly rare, but not as rare as that 2002 Blushing Rose edition that got sold on my birthday this year. Yeah, the Blushing Rose edition with the colorized illustrations, that's been sold, and I no longer have it. But otherwise, this is what's left over. Yep. So if you guys are crazy for the Lewis Carroll classics, this book is for you, and it's pretty collectible. So go ahead and buy it if you want it, because I got the eBay app running and stuff, and then if you buy it, I'm gonna hear that cash register sound. That's to confirm that the transaction's been done. Because yeah, I mean, feel free to ask questions before you buy, but make sure that you look through the pictures and read the description before you buy or ask any questions. So, anyone that's crazy for this book, this one's for you. And the only way you're going to take this out of my hands is to make your purchase, and it'll be shipped to you. I just the item that got sold, the Robin Hood and Little John Disney Parks pin, I just got it in a padded envelope, ready to drop off at the post office. And there's two more Disney pins that I have listed for sale. One's a Nick Wilde one, mint on its original card, and there's the Cheshire Cat one that's loose from its original card. If I remember, yeah, the Cheshire Cat one that I have, it's loose from its original card. And truth be told, I have not gone to any Disney parks for over 20 years now. I went to Walt Disney World back in 1999 and 2003 in my childhood. Yeah, yes. And I have never gone to Disneyland. I have not gone to France, to Disneyland Paris, and I haven't even gone to Japan, that Tokyo Disneyland. Yeah, I've never gone to Japan, never gone to France. In fact, I haven't even gone to Europe in in my life. And I've never taken an airplane over over the oceans. Yeah, I've never taken an overseas flight. And that's saying something. And this Alice's Adventures in Wonderland book, I'm going to go put that in the chat so that you're directed to the listing. It has 33 watchers. It used to have some more watchers, so some people removed it off their watch list. All right. Uh, okay. And if you guys want to see this, yep. Yeah, and this is a cap of what should look like a fox. But little did I know, it looks more of a swift fox than a typical red fox animal. Yeah, it kind of looks more like a swift fox. So yeah, I originally got this from Party City back in 26, yeah, over 10 years ago. So yeah, this was a Party City exclusive, and these are starting to get hard to find because Party City filed for bankruptcy in the past few years, and my local Party City closed. And if I remember correctly, I believe it's Dollar Tree that is in Party City's place in my local shopping center. Yeah, the Lakeport Commons. Yeah, which has been around for a little over 20 years now as part of the growing population where I live. I live in Woodbury County, Iowa. And if anyone is looking to buy this hat, because I've since started to lose interest in it because I want something that looks more like a typical red fox. And then there's one of these caps that I'm wearing right now, and this one I have after I've lost interest in wearing it. I'm so grateful this one's up for sale for anyone who wants it. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the link to that eBay listing so that you're like directed to it. And of course, here's this beanie cap. Here's this Fox beanie cap that has the side earpieces or the ear warmers. This one is the one that I'm asking for the most value on. I originally got this from Anime NebraskaCon 2012 at the dealer's room. Yeah, it was my first Anime NebraskaCon then that I seen some people at the con. I've seen a few attendees wear what looks like fox hats or something. When I saw this at the dealer's room, I felt the motivation to buy it. So, yeah, this one's pretty cool. It's also something I consider collectible. This is the one that I'm at value on. it's almost irreplaceable. So I really see a lot of value in it. I've had a few people send me rude messages about it, and I've had a few buyers sending me some rude messages, and I block them. If you're going to send me rude messages, you're going to get blocked. No exceptions. Because as a seller, I have a right to set the price for what I consider to not only break even, but if any item is worth some collector value and if it's rare enough to be nearly irreplaceable. So this I see worth a lot of value, even more than the average cost of rent. I mean, like in the state of Iowa that I live in, which Iowa is considered one of the more affordable places to live. And this is on my featured items. And it's on sale. Okay. All right. So if anyone is looking to buy what I'm selling on eBay, because my eBay store is called the Fox's Treasure and Trade. I've got some. Yep, I got something sold, but I'd like to see my sales go up because I'm selling to scrape up money. Plus, even though I've got my dentist appointment, my folks have agreed to pay for it, but I need to have a job. And then my mom has been talking to me about that she and my dad could die in the next few years, and she's been raising a lot of concerns that there's no one to take care of me, especially that there will be no one else to take care of me, especially financially. That's that's not what we want. Plus, because I'm having financial issues, that's why I am selling on eBay, and I cannot wait to get hired somewhere, whatever job will accept me, because I've been unemployed and I'm still scrambling to get hired no matter where I apply. And I believe people should hire people on merit. And I do not want to talk politics, but DEI policies, they don't work in the employment process, because and some of the employers are just making stupid reasons to reject candidates, and with this ridiculous, we've decided to pursue other candidates excuses. And I kind of feel like they kind of use this as an excuse just to refuse them for the wrong reasons. And that there's just employment loopholes, because I'm very proficient with computers. Why, if I'm very proficient with computers, why would the employer not want to hire me? How does that make sense? And these employers that want to make it a race issue are ridiculous. I mean, it's supposed to be about qualifications, not race. Because then you're wasting your time hiring the wrong people, and then it's also going to hurt your business, and it's going to turn away customers. Because if you're going to hire someone, you got to thoroughly look through qualifications, do it right, allow applicants time to give a detailed list of qualifications necessary to prove that they are the right fit. Because I've worked for different companies that deal with customers. And yes, I made the video, breaking my silence about working for Walmart. I've dealt with difficult customers, just like I've also dealt with difficult buyers on eBay, with people being difficult, and then if they complain and don't give me enough proof. Which that one TV I sold to a buyer, which was just an extra, she claimed the RCA ports were not working, even though she didn't have enough evidence. She just said things word after word. She said the RCA ports on other TVs were working except the one that I sold to her, but she refused to provide the evidence. Even though the TV I sold to her, the RCA ports actually worked, and I had pictures and video footage to prove it in the original listing. She wanted to act like I sent her a different TV, or she did something to try to mask some of the evidence. There were some scratches, there were some dings on it before I sold it to her, kind of based on the handling thing, or she might have painted over the markings to try to patch them up herself, and that she kind of tried to paint over them to kind of try to make them look like new again, or to try to make it look like I gave her a different TV than what I actually and clearly knowingly gave to her. Yes, that buyer that I sold that one TV to, she went through the local pickup process just so she didn't have to pay shipping and handling fees. I had the opportunity to, because I had two options. She could either pay shipping and handling fees due to the weight of it, or local pickups. I don't know how she would have to drive several states away. I mean, what's she doing that she's got to drive several states away to pick it up? Because what a horror story. I mean, yeah, she was a really dishonest buyer. She didn't really have enough proof. She played games. She tricked me into refunding her seemingly unsatisfactory order. She only gave me two pictures. That was not enough evidence to claim the RCA ports. I think she was playing a game. She was really playing a game just to get her money back. And that's so ridiculous. It's just the most dishonest people. That's why you got to be careful which buyer you sell to, because then the ones that have fewer feedback points, there's a chance they could be dishonest buyers. That's why you got to be really careful who you sell to. Because I'm working very hard to try to get things sold. I have what's because the number of items I have listed for sale, that amounts to up to $8,000 worth of items. So good, because yeah, when I go to the active section, because my eBay store, for the items that I have currently listed. So yeah. Yes. Okay. Results 1 through 172. Total $8,133.50. Quantity 181. I do have a few listings that are multi-quantity listings, including those Coca-Cola glasses and other things. I do have a few items that are multi-quantity ones, and then it's up to you as the buyer to pick how many you'd like to buy. But otherwise, most of my listings are single quantity ones, where you'll receive the item where you should receive the item that matches the picture, and then of course the listing's no longer available because I no longer have it or it's been sold. So yes, what I have if all the items I have listed for sale, if they were to be sold in 30 days, then I would have been making up to $8,000. Yes, if they were all, yeah, if everything I had listed for sale, if they were all to be sold within 30 days, then I'd be making $8,000. Because right now I'm selling, because, yeah, I'm selling for personal financial reasons. Because either way, you got to do what you got to do. If someone's got to sell because they need money, that's their choice. Think about that one family in the Super Nanny show. Well, it's not about eBay, but it's about the house thing, the Newsom family from Super Nanny, where that single mom, she and her husband got divorced. She was granted full custody of the kids, and she had to sell that one great big house they lived in and move into a smaller, cramped one, which it was for financial reasons. And she, and that she had, because, yeah, that she kind of had some kind of condition where she refuses to let go of the past. But for me, when I sell things on eBay, it's part of moving forward. Yeah, but if I'm selling on eBay, I'm moving forward. Some things we can enjoy for a while, and then in the end, it's time to sell it because we need money or other things. Because, but when I sell to someone, I'm doing them a favor. Instead of just taking their money and giving them nothing in return, that wouldn't be fair. Because both parties, they got to trade. They got to do what's called trading, where they send you money, whereas a seller, you receive money, and then you got to trade them back the item they agreed to pay for. Because if anything that's pay for, it's a contract. A transaction is a contract between both the buyer and the seller. Because a seller's not obligated to cancel. They don't care if you changed your mind. They don't care if you have any second thoughts. And before you buy, you got to make sure you have the correct mailing address, because then if you don't, you're going to pay the price, and then it's going to be delivered to the incorrect address because you didn't bother fixing it on your end. Because it's not the seller's job to fix the mailing address for you, because if you don't have the correct mailing address, you are paying the price. And then it's an item that you paid for and didn't end up receiving due to an address issue. Because if you ask the seller to change the address because you didn't bother doing it, that's going to void buyer and seller protections, eBay's money back guarantee. So if you're going to buy from any seller, whether you buy it for yourself or as a gift for someone, make sure you have the correct address. Or if you recently moved, yeah, if you recently moved, make sure you change your address. Make sure you change your mailing address too, because otherwise, seller doesn't have time to fix it. Once you pay for it, it's their job to ship it. Even if you didn't bother correcting your address because you either moved or you previously bought something for someone as a gift or you're trying to buy it for someone as a gift, but make sure you have the correct mailing address. Otherwise, there's no room to fix it. The seller's job is to ship the order. Once you pay for it, so their job to ship the order. They don't. Not every seller has the time to cancel your order, whether you changed your mind or you didn't. And they do have the right to say in the description, no cancellations, no exceptions. That they have the right to say it because it's their job to get things sold that they're not using, that other people can enjoy. And some sellers refuse cancellations because of financial reasons or things. Because most sellers don't have time to refund buyers who change their mind. Because, yeah, they don't care if buyers change their mind. Because if you buy it, it's an item that you are obligated to receive. You buy it, you must take it. It's your item you agreed to pay for. So, yeah, whatever it is, if you buy it, it's your item, it becomes your item. Because the seller has got an alert from eBay that says the item sold, it's time to get ready to ship it. Because eBay is going to remind every single seller that once a sale's been made, it's time to ship it. So, and it's 10:30, and I have to be going to bed pretty soon because I got to take some CDL exam at the DMV. Because my folks are talking me into the CDL stuff just to have a better opportunity for jobs. As how some jobs they require people to have a CDL, and either way, I'll pass and get my CDL permit and stuff. But in my lifetime, no, I do not want to drive a tractor trailer truck. That would be just too much for me. I do not want to drive a tractor trailer truck. A school bus would be nice, but then you gotta watch for kids. Because many of those commercial vehicles, because they will use what you call the air brakes, and then they take longer to stop than traditional hydraulic brakes of regular cars that you would own. Because air brakes, it's going to take longer to stop, and then you gotta hit the step on the brakes early. And how I've learned, with those tractor trailer trucks, that if they're empty, then they take longer to stop. That they'll only have shorter stopping distance if they're like loaded or something. Because those are some things that I learned, with the CDL stuff. And I got my CDL. I first got a CDL permit last year. It was tough. I was able to pass it, but since retaking it, yeah, I keep on failing. The questions are confusing, but yeah, CDL's a lot, and and either way, whatever kind of job I'd like to have, having a CDL would is just gonna be pretty hectic for me because I'm not used to it, and I'm in my mid 30s, and I haven't had a job, which is not cool because I'm working very hard to try to make some money, do some of the things that I'd like to do. So whatever you do, if there's any item you want, make your purchase. I've got plenty of opportunities because if I have over 150 listings, that shows that I've got plenty of opportunities. That shows that you have plenty of opportunities to buy what you want. But I don't waste my time with people requesting me what to list because they don't get to tell me what to list because they're not in control. I only list what I want to sell because I'm not the only seller they can buy from. If they want something that I don't have, they got to go to another seller. But before you buy from any seller, you should always check their feedback before you buy. Because if they have a feedback score of 100% within the past 12 months, you'd be at the best of luck to guarantee you'll have the best experience. Because you got to read what other buyers have to say before buying from any seller. Because feedback is where it speaks for itself before you buy. Just like before you go to any business, a restaurant, a store, whatever, you should check the reviews. see what their customers have to say before you do business with them. And I've been having pretty slow sales, and it's ridiculous. I deserve better because I'm having financial issues and have no job. That's why I am a full-time seller. I have So right now I've got items listed for sale. I've got about half of them that are more than a year old that are still waiting for a sale to be done. Okay. 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 And it's 10:40 and I got to be going to bed pretty soon, but anyone that wants to buy something that I'm selling, my eBay store is called the Fox's Treasure and Trade. Be sure to add me be sure to add my store to your favorites and take your pick and buy whatever you want because I'm working to scrape up money because right now I have over 150 items listed for sale. That totals up to $8,000 if they were to be sold within 30 days. That totals up to $8,000 if they were to all be sold. Because yeah, the prices vary. You can choose to buy something that's collectible, or you can buy something that that may be easy for your budget, but you got to pay more in shipping when the price is too cheap for the shipping and handling fees. Just like we got to pay selling fees, anything that gets sold on eBay. Because, I've got over 150 items. Just take your pick. Yes, I do offer combined shipping. And yes, I do offer international shipping, but it's going to cost more money. And I can only give free shipping to domestic buyers in America where I live. Because, it costs more money to ship overseas. And then there's the import taxes, duties, and other things. Because overseas shipping is very costly. Yeah, it's very costly to ship overseas. And then they have some weight limits. Yeah, there are weight limits for items to be shipped overseas. That you can't ship big bulky items because then those bulky items they're more for within your region. And then anything that's too big to ship, then becomes a local pickup item like a piano or any household appliance or any household appliances, the large ones, like a refrigerator or oven, then yeah, local pickup's the only option for those great big items that are too big to ship. while they also are very expensive to do it by freight. Because yeah, I don't do freight. That's too much for me. And because I'm really tight on money, and I don't have a choice but to get things sold. And I'm not going to shut up until I either get a job or have a bunch of goods sold that I'd like to have sold. So if you guys really want it, you need to act like you want it. How to act like you want it is to make your purchase. I'm sick and tired of people just adding it to their watch list, and I'm sick and tired of people just adding it to their carts and not pulling the trigger to check out. I'm really sick and tired of people pretending like they want it. That's ridiculous. And I don't care what their excuse is. It may be too much, but we got to break even. Just like you gotta pay your fair share when you buy in a restaurant. You got to pay them for the service, and you got to tip them a reasonable amount so that they have a good amount of money to take home to benefit their families. When they got rent to pay, and in case they may not get enough work hours. So that's something to pay attention to. And because we've been living in a time where people have had their work hours cut. That $15 minimum wage thing that's been going on. Be, and it's so ridiculous how some states have been setting minimum wage laws. Like in Illinois, California, New York, and those states. I mean, when they raise the wage, that actually kills jobs. Raising wages, they only pledge to get people out of poverty, saying that people will get richer. But the problem is, in order to raise the wage, they got to raise the prices of goods and services. Really, in order to raise the minimum wage, they got to raise the prices just to pay those employees. Because kind of like people that want to walk out on their jobs because of those working conditions they want to say are too much or something, and they want to keep complaining that they're not getting paid enough or not getting pay raises like they think they deserve. Well, people don't deserve a pay raise if they're not going to do a good job. And most of these people that want to demand pay raises are people that just have terrible service and don't do their jobs. And then there's the popular claim saying that they are demanding higher pay because they're trying to pay for their families. Because whether it's childcare, especially in the case of someone by the name of Brittany Berry, who says she got injured. Yeah, that Brittany Berry, who worked at a Chicago McDonald's, who says she suffered third-degree burns on some grill when told to work fast and something. And then she was told to like treat it with mustard or something. Yeah, and then where she says she had to sit out of work for months and stuff, and said she wasn't getting the money she needed to raise her toddler at the time. Even though, instead of demanding higher wages, she should get an education. Just like I've gone to college, I have an associate's degree. These people that think they deserve higher wages, they need to get a real education. They need to go find a career path that is a good fit to get them a higher salary. I mean, I've talked myself into going to college or something, but it's kind of hard to find some career paths right now. I'm very proficient with using computers and other things. And we know education's expensive, but I don't support the thing called FAFSA that free free application for student aid. I mean, we shouldn't be paying for other people's education. We should only be paying for our own. I mean, if it's not our kids, then we shouldn't be paying their education because that's not fair to us. Because when we pay for their education, they're taking advantage of us, even when it means that they don't succeed at school. Because then they're really trying to defraud us to use our money to pay for their education, and then in case they don't succeed, or that they're trying to take away our right to fund our own education that we need, because be just just like it isn't okay to use tax dollars, because people should be having more tax returns, and that because people need to have more money in their pocket so that they can do some of the things they want to do, like having a vacation or a much needed car or home repair. And well, I'm going to go ahead and close off this stream for now. So if anyone goes and hasn't been watching it while I was live or missed out or something, well, I've got the links to because I've got the links to my eBay store and to some of the individual listings, including what I call featured items that are some of the items that I consider my top priorities for making a profit. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this stream, and and anyone who wants to buy what I'm selling, just pick the item you want, make your purchase, and I will be ready to ship it. And the item that just got sold, I'm going to be getting ready to go drop it off at the post office so that it's on its way to the person who bought and paid for it. So I'm going to close this stream for now, and my computer needs to charge. So, anyways, have a good night, you guys.